as governor of Texas, what can you do with the federal government acting as the way it is? Like, what are some processes?
You look at the 10th Amendment and you assert your power as a sovereign state.
Yep.
You look at those two clauses that I just mentioned in the Constitution. You have a full mobilization of your National Guard. You start to tax the remittances that are coming out of Texas, with illegal immigrants, and that's how you build a border security fund. You also designate those cartels as criminal and terrorist organizations. So you go after the banks that are funneling and laundering their money. You go after these stash houses. You go after real estate agents and agencies and the banks that are supporting these stash houses. This is an intricate system that you've got to peel the layers of the onion back. But the most important thing, you've got to go after those resources. And the other thing is you've got to stop with the magnets. If you come into Texas, you're not getting free taxpayer benefits in Texas. You're not getting in-state tuition as illegal in Texas. And so it's those type of things that we have to use as a physical deterrent and then also economic deterrents.
Well, what kind of resistance would you foresee from the federal government?
The federal government and see, that's a great point, because see, that comes back to exactly what we said. Republicans always put themselves in a box that says, well, we've got to get the permission from the federal government. It was free and independent states that created the federal government. And so when you understand federalism, when you understand your duty as a sovereign state, you don't sit back and you wait for the mother may I from the federal government. You have a duty and responsibility as a governor to protect the citizens in your state. And right now, the citizens of the state of Texas are not being protected. I know everyone's saying, well, we're going to build a wall. There's 1,200 miles that we share with a foreign nation. There's only 145 miles of wall that's been built. How long do you think it's going to take us to build another 1,055 miles of a border wall, which the Trump administration estimated at $10 to $12 billion, and we've only said that we're going to allocate $250 million?
Well, to be fair, I heard a story that Trump actually proposed moats full of alligators. Oh. That was actually reported. Clearly, Trump.
Another headline.
Exactly. They said somebody somewhere made a claim that Trump wanted moats full of alligators. And that's actually more expensive. Digging a trench and filling it with water and alligators.
You gotta feed those alligators.
Plus, the Rio Grande's already there.
It's already there. I mean, you already have a physical, barrier, a border, a river. But if you're not putting anyone down there as a physical deterrent, then it's just a crossing point. And so you get to watch, as on our website, the video of guys just ferrying people across.
These videos are crazy. You watch them. We've had a lot of reporters we've had on this show have been down there, and it's the most insane thing to see a residential neighborhood, and then all of a sudden you'll see 15 dudes just run full speed, and then like border guards chasing after them.
High speed car chases, carjackings have increased, ransacking of grocery stores and convenience stores. These are the type of these aren't asylum seekers.
What? I believe this is, I'm getting this right, but do you know the most dangerous cities in Mexico and where they are?
It's right along the border.
Yep. Just south of the U.S. border.
You have right now going on, and this is going to explode pretty soon. There is a cartel internal turf war, and these guys are gearing up. Because there are certain cartels that want to expand the drug trade, fentanyl and what have you. There are certain cartels that are only in the human and sex trafficking, and there are certain cartels that want to bring all of that together under their control. There are some incredible videos that show some of the massacres and so how some of these bodies are just laying out in the streets all over the place. You can go down and you can be on our side of the border and you can hear the gunshots. It reminds me, Iraq, Afghanistan, you can see the flashes. This is what's happening just on the other side. And I guarantee you, if they are having an internal border fight between the cartels on the south side of the border, that's going to spill over to our side of the border.
And there are people who have houses just like right there.
Right there.
Right on the border.
They live in terror every day. I mean, think about this, Ian. If you know that a cartel member is going to come up to you and say, if you say something, we'll kill you.
My first thought would be to move. My first thought would be,
where are you going to go?
Yeah.
Who's going to buy your house?
I don't know. I mean, that would be my life's goal at that point. Would be first, head down, don't say anything that gets me killed, and then second, I gotta get out of here.
This is America, and just imagine. Okay, this is no different from ISIS and the Taliban operating, and we're allowing them free reign and free control of our border control.
How do we stop it?
Well, hold on. What do you think would happen if one of these guys in these houses took a weapon, saw one of these cartel members, and fired on him, killed him? What do you think would happen to that person?
You know what's going to happen. Was he armed? Was it an unarmed person? How do you know he was a cartel member, what have you? And that's why I said we have got to designate them as a criminal and terrorist organization. And if you are working with the cartels, that's a felony offense. You're going to jail, and you ain't going to see daylight.
Didn't what was it? Fast and Furious? Weren't they working with Obama's administration was working with cartels to run guns into the U.S. from
Well,
Mexico?
I mean, absolutely, because what they wanted, and Brian Terry, the Border Patrol agent, lost his life because of that gun running scheme. Now, of course, if you say Fast and Furious to most millennials out there, they're going to think of Vin Diesel.
How convenient.
Yeah, okay.
Good job, government.
Yeah.
Way to mask your
they wanted
behavior.
to track the weapons, how they
Yes.
were moving, and they gave weapons. I almost just don't believe they were that stupid. Let's give guns to all these people. That'll help us stop them.
No,
Yeah, that's what they do with ISIS,
But
too,
what
right?
they really wanted to do was they wanted to say that we've got a gun problem in the United States of America because we have straw dealers that are selling guns. Not the government. We're going to try to create the straw man and say the gun distributors and manufacturers doing it, and then we can therefore shut down the gun manufacturing industry here in the United States of America. But look, what the Obama administration did with Fast and Furious was the exact same thing the Obama administration was doing in the Middle East, in Syria, and then also in Libya. I mean, the whole thing that happened in Benghazi was because we were trying to negotiate and get weapons back from the folks that we had supported, Islamic jihadists, against Gaddafi, and we were going to send those weapons into Syria.
Yeah, the U.S. has a problem with kind of doing that, you know. Mujahideen, for instance.
Oh, yeah. We don't have a good track record of picking folks.
Hussein's Ba'ath Party. We disbanded the Ba'ath Party, and then they all became Al Qaeda, basically, or was it ISIS? I don't remember.
At first, it was the Fedayeen, and then it became Al Qaeda in Iraq. I was there.
And then ISIS.
ISIS came when you create a void, much the same as we are doing now in Afghanistan. If you create a void, basic law of physics, someone's going to fill that void. And so if you had just left a residual force, kind of like a strike force, to keep the other side at bay, not worrying about democratic institutions or what have you. And so ISIS came in, and we knew about it. As a matter of fact, al-Baghdadi was once in our custody there, and he was released. And
Was that under Obama?
Yes.
Amazing.
Yeah,
It seems like Obama didn't really have the desire to end ISIS.
He didn't have the desire to do anything.
Yeah.
And Joe Biden is stepping in and doing the exact same thing. And so you're going to see an incredible bloodbath in Afghanistan, just as you saw in Iraq, just the same as you saw in Vietnam. Remember the killing fields of Pol Pot?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, exact same thing is going to happen. I've already had a couple of my former interpreter translators in Afghanistan ask me for letters of recommendation so they can get out. But you know what's the interesting thing? They could probably get to the United States of America quicker if they could pay to go down to Brazil and come up, through our poor southern border, than to try to go to the embassy and get them to do the right thing for these young men and young women who helped us as interpreters and translators and getting them out of Afghanistan. They are truly under attack, and they will be killed by the Taliban, by ISIS, or whoever comes back into power. And guess who also is moving into Afghanistan now that we have precipitously left? China.
Oh, I've heard that.
China has taken over
Belt and Road Initiative.
Yep.
But Trump wanted to leave earlier. Trump's initial deadline was May, and Biden pushed it back a little
Yeah,
bit.
but see, the thing is that anyone will tell you all you have to do is leave a small residual force to keep the other side at bay. Leave a small special forces type of force that can make sure that they don't come in and once again reestablish the sanctuary.
I think, we had Sean Parnell on the show, and that's ultimately where we came to, where he was saying we can't stay there forever. The United States can't just be sitting in this country, but a small team, something to do exactly what you're saying.
Absolutely. I mean, we're not talking about leaving a large million-man force like we did in Germany for, 50 or 60 years. But if you leave, the quick strike force, like I say, with the special operators that can go and target certain key individuals and keep the other side at bay, that's all you need.
It's mistakes after mistakes, We shouldn't have been in there in the first place for a lot of reasons.
Well, the thing is, we had to go in initially, but what happens is that you lose focus. You become an army of occupation instead of army that is enemy-oriented. And you go in, you start to worry about building roads, building institutions, and all of those things. That's not what you're there for. You're supposed to find bad guys and kill bad guys. That's all that's needed.
And now where are they going? Syria?
Who, the bad guys?
No. Biden's moving troops.
Who knows? Who knows?
I
I don't
don't
think he knows.
I agree, and I don't think that the resource. I don't think the Biden administration is going to be too focused on helping Americans. I think it's going to be more of what we see with many other presidents, focusing on foreign policy and kind of disregarding what Americans need in this country. Notably,
Of course.
our own border security seems to be a mess, and they're
Well, it's just the same as the pipeline. Joe Biden comes in and shuts down oil and gas production and pipelines, being in Alaska, being Keystone, being at fracking in Texas. But yeah, he says to Vladimir Putin, go right ahead.
Nord Stream 2.
Absolutely.
We'll retract the sanctions on Nord Stream 2, build your pipeline.
Yeah.
As for us in the U.S., we'll shut them down. And it's remarkable because they're putting pressure on a pipeline in Michigan that goes to Canada. Canada is outraged over what they're doing.
Absolutely.
It's we're breaking contracts with them. And it's remarkable that we had the crisis we had in Texas with the freezing.
Oh man, if we can talk about that.
Oh yeah, but you also had the Colonial Pipeline hack.
Yes.
Now is not the time to be hurting American energy independence.
No, it's not the time to be hurting American energy.
Never is, really.
No, it's not. And now it's not the time to be talking about the Green New Deal and all of these type of things, because what happened in Texas was that 26% of our energy distribution plan was in wind and solar. About 23% wind, 3% in solar. And what happened we knew this was coming 10 days out. Well, the wind turbines froze and the solar panels froze over. And so all of a sudden, what was supposed to be 26% of your energy distribution plan dropped down to 3%. And there was no backup because no one had done any winterization checks on a lot of the natural gas plants, and we had shut down a lot of the coal fire plants, which we can look at clean coal to be burned out there.
That was the big failure. Was they didn't do winterization.
They didn't do the winterization. No preventative maintenance checks and services.
And you know what my bet is? Just my opinion. I haven't looked into it, but I'm willing to bet
Climate change.
the people who are building that those wind turbines were probably like, we don't need to worry about freezing. This is Texas.
The climate never changes.
Well,
yeah, we're good.
Yeah, well, and the other thing is that we heavily subsidize those systems. And look, in a free market system, if you want to be a reliable energy source, stand up on your own.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of wind, solar, but we don't have the technological, we don't have the efficiency for one.
Not yet.
To go as big as they're going. Now, some countries have gone really, really big with wind, but people don't understand is that you have to subsidize a lot of it, or you have to get energy elsewhere because there's not always wind. You know what I mean? And the challenge is batteries, transportation. And so it's not so simple. And one of the things, there was somebody who posted this on Facebook. They were like, they said something ridiculous like the reason the reason we're not getting rid of fossil fuels is because the Democrats and the Republicans are beholden to massive corporations and they just want to make money. And I responded with, the real reason we're not getting rid of fossil fuels is that the energy return on energy invested for everything else except for nuclear doesn't provide enough energy. The amount of energy going into these systems that's not petroleum, save nuclear, isn't enough.
And the other thing is that even with the green systems, the wind and the solar, guess what you use to push it through the system? Natural gas.
And people really don't understand how much petroleum is used to build solar and wind
and also in this.
And all the plastics, petrochemicals.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of petroleum to even build. And so the question I'm asking people is, look, I love the idea of renewable energies. Geothermal, tidal energy. Ever hear of tidal energy?
Yeah. There's
tidal
different ways to utilize that.
Is reliable. The tide comes in, tide goes out, and you capture some of that energy. The problem is, how much petroleum do you use to build those systems?
Absolutely.
And how long will it take to pay back and offset that carbon? And will you actually produce enough in the long run? Will the device last long enough? In a lot of circumstances, the answer is no. Producing solar, for instance, not necessarily efficient enough right now.
Yep.
There's a lot of cool things we've done with mirrors on those saltwater vats to produce steam energy. There's smart things we're doing.
But it's not going to get
But they're blocking nuclear power.
Yeah.
It's like you've got a clean solution with a massive energy return, and they're like, no, not that one. Because, they don't care about the climate. They care about power.
Absolutely. And control.
Yep.
That's it.
Thanks for checking out this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. If you want to see the full show, come back to this channel, youtube.com/TimcastIRL, Monday through Friday at 8 p.m., where you can leave comments and super chat, and we actually will read your comments on the show. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and if you want exclusive members-only content, segments you can't get anywhere else, go to timcast.com, become a member, and we even have full bonus episodes. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.